And good afternoon, East Alabama and West Georgia. It is 3:17 p.m. Central Time on Saturday, January 17th, 2026. Dr. Don in here with you, and we're going to spend the next few minutes talking about a little sliver of snow hope for East Alabama and West Georgia. And wow, this is just weird. The further south and east you go, the better the chances of seeing a flake or two will be. We're talking places like Americus, Georgia. We're talking about Albany, Georgia, Macon, Georgia, and then back up toward Augusta, up there around the I-85 corridor. So, if you're in Alabama and you want to see snow tonight, and you want to get the best chance of seeing snow tonight, then you need to head over toward Macon, Georgia. I think between Macon and about Statesboro out there on I-16 might be the bullseye, or even down around Americus, Georgia. Could see some significant snow as well. So where are we at right now? Well, again, the system that's going to produce the moisture that may bring some snow to parts of the southeast still has not developed yet, and it's not supposed to. It's not really supposed to start getting its act together until a little later on this evening. Now, we are seeing some echo returns on radar already across Alabama, but for the most part, that stuff's not making it to the ground. We'll show you that on radar in just a few moments. So the system is really kind of in the early stages of developing right now. So over the next 6 hours, 12 hours, we will watch this thing evolve together. And where the center of that low pressure system forms, how deep that low pressure becomes, and exactly where it tracks is going to decide who gets winter precipitation, who gets liquid precipitation, who gets absolutely nothing at all. And though the models have come into much better agreement, it is almost impossible in the southeastern United States to tell you exactly where it's going to snow and how much you're going to receive after all is said and done. There's always surprises. Folks who didn't think they were going to get snow, and folks who think they're going to get snow don't get snow. That's just the way it works in the South. So make sure you understand all of that before we go any further. But I want to show you several things here. This is a graphic that has just been released by the National Weather Service, and it's kind of an overview with some details. Snow or a rain-snow mix is expected south of the I-85 corridor early Sunday morning through about early Sunday afternoon. Now, when we say the I-85 corridor, we're talking from Greenville, South Carolina, to Atlanta, Georgia, along I-85, and then from south of Atlanta all the way to Montgomery, Alabama. And then even back into southwest Alabama, could see a few snowflakes later on this evening. Now, that's where the potential exists, or the best potential exists for accumulating snow. That does not mean that you won't see snowflakes in Roanoke, Alabama. That doesn't mean that you won't see snowflakes in LaGrange, Georgia. It just simply means the best chance for accumulating snow will be basically along that I-85 corridor from Montgomery to Charlotte and to the south and southeast. If you're along the I-85 corridor and north, you most likely will see at least some snow showers, or maybe even a quick dusting of the ground. I mean, it would not surprise me at all for the cold surfaces in Randolph County, especially the higher elevation up there, Potash Ridge and north, to receive a dusting. That's certainly a possibility. Between I-85 and I-20, you could receive a dusting, or you may just get flurries. North of the I-20 corridor, I think the best chance you got, and this is in Georgia as well, is going to be basically just flurries. Maybe up here in the northeast Georgia mountains, we could see some flurries, maybe a brief snow shower or two. We're not expecting any real measurable snow north of the I-20 corridor or north of the I-85 corridor in Georgia. But any precipitation that falls across North Alabama and North Georgia is going to freeze on contact. Temperatures are going to be cold enough. And because the ground has been cold up here for quite some time, it will have a much easier chance of sticking. So there could be some travel issues early tomorrow morning across the North Georgia mountains. And then again on Monday morning, because any residual moisture that may be left tomorrow afternoon into Monday morning is obviously going to refreeze. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Snow accumulations will generally range from a trace to 1 inch across that area that you see between I-85 and we'll call it Valdosta. In that area, for the most part, we're looking at 1 inch accumulation. But right there around Macon down to around Americus, we could see up to 2 to 3 inches of snow. So if you're looking at the map there on your device, the counties in the yellow would be the counties that could potentially pick up 2 to 3 inches of snow. Everybody else about 1 inch. In the blue counties, if you're north of I-85 up there in East Alabama, we're not looking for any accumulation at all, though I wouldn't be shocked for just a dusting in some locations. Now, there is a winter storm warning that's in effect for Macon, Georgia, and those 14 counties surrounding Macon. We'll show you that in just a few moments. So rain, all this is expected to start as rain and then transition to snow or a rain-snow mix across central Georgia between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. That is the main window for that possibility of snow. And we believe it'll be ending by about 11 a.m. tomorrow morning across most locations in the state of Georgia. So we'll look at a graphic now from the National Weather Service out of Birmingham. And this shows the chance of seeing 1/4 inch or more. And right now, if you're in Roanoke, Alabama, you got about... hang on, let's blow this thing up so we can see this a little bit better. I know that's awfully small. Yeah, we got about a 4% chance that you'll see accumulating snow across East Alabama and West Georgia. But as you can see, as you go to the southeast, those colors start to change and they get into the reds and yellows. And so it's not going to be far to the southeast of East Alabama and West Georgia, where we will have a decent chance of seeing accumulating snow later on this evening into tomorrow morning. Now, again, the system is in the process of developing now. So, I mean, if it were to track 20, 30, 40 miles further north than anticipated, then that could change everything across East Alabama and West Georgia. We're going to have to watch this as we go along. All right, so there's the winter storm warnings and advisories as issued by the National Weather Service. And those counties right there in pink from about Macon down over to Dublin and just north of Albany are the areas where the winter storm warning is now in effect for tonight. And then the rest of those counties are under a winter weather advisory. And that does slip into southeast Alabama, does get down there into the Dothan area. But even down there in Dothan, Abbeville, all the way up to Eufaula, right now we're thinking this is going to be mostly a rain-snow mix, maybe with a quick burst of heavy snow on the very tail end of the moisture as it moves into Georgia. And you could pick up a dusting down there around the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan, Alabama. That's peanut country, not supposed to snow down there. But that's the watch warnings as we have them right now. And then I want to go to the latest high-resolution radar. And we're going to kind of talk through this. Let's bring it current. All right, so that's 4 o'clock this afternoon. And we're going to bring this on out to, that's about 9 o'clock tonight. We'll begin to see some of those rain showers developing there across East Alabama. And look up there in the northeast Georgia mountains, right up here, and you'll notice there's some blue mixed in across northern White County up into western Rabun, most of Towns County, and back up into Union. That would be up there right along the Appalachian Trail. At the highest elevations of northeast Georgia, we could see some snow up there, and that could begin at about 9 o'clock this evening. Then as we just kind of step through this, you'll notice those blues become more widespread up there in northeast Georgia. But again, most of it is along the Appalachian Trail and to the north. And then maybe by about 11 p.m. this evening, most of Rabun County could be in the snow. That's just one county to the northeast of where the Dr. Don Studios are located. But you'll notice it's all rain, all the way back through Atlanta, down through Noonan, and then down into Chambers County. I'll note that we've got a couple of dots of yellow right there. That could be some ice pellets mixed in with the rain by about 11 o'clock this evening. And then here we go at midnight. Now, this is about 11 o'clock Central, midnight Eastern. We begin to see some blue showing up, and that would be just south of Atlanta, and that's a very, very narrow band of snow, if this model verifies, and it's correct. But we see a little bit of snow up there around Athens, Georgia, and then from just south of Atlanta all the way back down to maybe extreme southeastern Troup County, right there around the I-85, I-185 interchange. And then a mixture of rain, sleet, and snow. Then a couple little bitty dots of snow over there in Lee County, right around Opelika. And then the yellow would be that mixture of rain and perhaps ice pellets mixed in with it. At this point, the ground is still well above freezing. The air temperature is well above freezing. Don't forget, you can get snow at 38 degrees. I've actually seen snow at 42 degrees, but that's rare. You got to have really cold air loft for that to happen. But around 38, 37, 36 degrees, you can start getting snow, but the ground is well above freezing. So even if this develops at midnight tonight, there should be no travel problems there. Then we will move this on out to around midnight Central, 1 o'clock Eastern. You see that thin little area of snow move a little bit further to the southeast, maybe moving through Athens, Georgia. You'll see the northern end of it just touches the South Carolina-Georgia state line right there at I-85. That's the I-85 corridor. So this is, that's probably about 10-mile wide band of snow. So it's not going to last very long up in these areas if that snow does develop and move through at that time. And then it all disappears at around 2 a.m. Eastern. There's 3 a.m. There's 4 a.m., all rain. Looky here. About 5 a.m. Eastern, 4 a.m. Central, we start to pick up some more blue on this model. Now, this would be from about Macon over to just south of Columbus, maybe down there around Fort Benning. And then Dothan at that point is picking up a little bit of ice mixed in with the rain. But you'll notice it's all liquid in Dothan at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. Now, here we go. We're getting into where we think the better snow growth is going to be, and this is at 6 a.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Central tomorrow morning. And look at that. That very narrow band of snow that we saw earlier has now widened out a bit, and we see it stretching from basically Macon all the way down to Dothan, even down into northwest Florida. I mean, Marianna, Florida sits about right there. So don't be surprised. And almost all the way to Panama City at this point. That's right across the Appalachia Bay down there on 331. If you go to Destin, Fort Walton, Seagrove, 30A, you go right through that Appalachia Bay area. And that could be getting snow there, pretty good snow too. That's coming down at a pretty good rate at 6 a.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Central tomorrow morning. If this model is correct, keep in mind this is a model, this is not a forecast. Here we go at 7 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Central, and that snow band continues to broaden, and we got good snow falling now from Macon all the way down to about Albany. Dothan is still in the snow there. And then across northwest Florida, it's coming down pretty good across that I-10 corridor from about Pensacola over to Crestview. And then we'll take this out to 8 a.m. You see the backside of it moving through Dothan now. And there'll be a sharp cutoff. Once this snow starts to taper off, it'll just like somebody turns the faucet off, and it'll be gone. So it's going to be a quick cutoff. So from about Webb, Alabama, for those of you who might know where that's at, right over there on the Georgia state line down there in Houston County, up to about Macon, and maybe all the way up to Augusta, we've got good snow falling now. And where you see those dark blues, that is very heavy snowfall. I mean, we could be looking at snow rates up to an inch or inch and a half an hour in some of these locations. The problem is it's not going to snow but for about an hour, hour and a half in most of those locations, and then the moisture's gone. So now we're out to about 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and you can see there the I-16 corridor from Statesboro all the way back to Macon, covered up with snow. And then from about Valdosta back up to Albany, we've still got good snow falling. At 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central. There we go at 10 a.m. Eastern, still snowing good across that I-16 corridor and down there on I-75 from Valdosta up to about the Americus exit. There we go again. Still snowing at 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. Look out, Savannah. Oh, my goodness. Is it not going to make it to Savannah? Wow. Now, I'm going to tell you, if I lived in Savannah, I know we got a lot of snow lovers out there. If I lived in Savannah, Georgia, and it snows from Macon to about Pooler, and that's what this is saying, and doesn't make it into downtown Savannah, I'm hot. I am hot. You hear me? Can you imagine how beautiful downtown Savannah would be with snow falling, with the moss hanging from the trees? I mean, my goodness, that would be awesome. If this model is correct, it makes it to within about 10 miles of Savannah, then it stops. Oh, my goodness. How cool would it be to go out on Tybee Island in the snow? If this model is correct, it's just not going to make it quite to Savannah. That's heartbreaking. All right, so we back it up, and then I'm going to let it loop through in real time. So that's what we're looking at, folks. This is the high-resolution radar. We've been telling you for the last 3 or 4 days we were, once we got close enough to this event where we could look at the high-resolution radar, we would feel much more confident about the forecast. Well, we're there. So that's what we're looking at. Now, again, the low pressure itself has not formed just yet. Until it does, we are not 100% positive exactly how deep that low is going to be and exactly which track it's going to take. So there is still time, even at this late hour, there is still time for some changes in the forecast and a shift 30, 40 miles further north makes all the difference in the world for East Alabama and West Georgia. So if you're a snow lover, there's still a slim snow hope. Hang on to it. This game's not over with just yet. I mean, we are coming out of halftime, so we ain't got a whole lot of time left for things to change, but there is still hope. Those comebacks do happen. All right, so let me go over to the chat room and see how many what about questions after I have just spent 20 minutes giving you a deep dive on what we think is going to happen. Let me go over here and see how many what about questions we got. Cragford, Alabama in the house. Phoenix City. Hey, Phoenix City, you're right there on the edge of where the good snow should start. I don't know that you get a whole lot, but you might have 30 minutes to an hour of some decent snow. Hey, Nancy Henson, thank you. Hey, Judy and Doug White watching us this evening. There's Bobby G. Let it snow, let it snow. I think Wells is saying he can't hear because he's hunting. Now, there's a first. I don't know that I've ever had anybody tell me that they're watching Dr. Don's weather hanging off the side of a tree stand. How much snow for Clio? Probably a flurry. Hang on. There's my prediction for Clio, Alabama. Oh, shoot. Hang on. We got to fix that so you can see it. There you go. Be careful what you ask for. I can pretty much do anything. Oh, there's my first what about. Aaron Casita Beulah. Yeah, so you're right there along that magical snow line where we think it will start there and move southeast. So I wouldn't expect much more than a flurry to potentially a half inch in the Casita Beulah area. Hey, Brandy Yates. Hey, County Road 43, Miss Kim. I think there's a chance you'll see a flurry tonight in Randolph County. Hackneyville, same thing. I think you're just looking at flurries. Ozark, Alabama, dusting to a half inch maybe. Probably closer to a dusting for Ozark. Noonan, mostly flurries. LaGrange, you're going to be close, but I think you're mostly flurries as well. You could get a snow shower, but it's going to end so fast, I don't think you're going to have much time to get any type of accumulation in LaGrange. Hello, LaGrange, Miss Melissa, Patricia, Ashley watching us in Roanoke. I agree, Pamela. I spent when I worked for the state at least, and we still go back for a conference every year, though we're going to Jekyll Island now. But I spent a lot of time in Savannah. Was deployed down there twice during hurricanes, and that kind of became a second home for me there for several years. And that place would just be gorgeous in about a good 3 or 4 inch snow. I'd love to see it. Hey, Michelle. Hogansville, you're most likely looking at flurries to a half inch, probably closer to flurries. Sonoya, Georgia in the house. The Walking Dead folks. Been listening to me on Dr. Don's weather since the WELR days. Yeah, that was a minute ago. I think I signed off with Eagle 102 in 2010. Late 2010, if I remember correctly. So it's been a minute. Hey, Miss Ruby over in Clay County. Good to see you. Lee Cobb holding things down over at the Rock Mills. Columbus, Georgia, excited for the snow. Don't get too excited, Columbus. I don't think you're going to get a whole lot. Again, though, like I said, there are always surprises with these type of systems. You know, just a gentle shift to the north and maybe back to the west a bit when the snow starts, and everything in the world could change for Columbus. Right now, if the model that I'm looping on the screen verifies, and this is probably the most trusted model this close to an event, is the high resolution. If it verifies, then Columbus is probably not going to see a whole lot. As far as accumulation is concerned, I think there's a chance you will see rain mixed with snow, and then it'll briefly switch over to all snow, and then it's going to be probably gone pretty quick. Linda Lou in Lafayette, Alabama. Yes, Patricia, you should be fine traveling north from to Gainesville from LaGrange. And so when you get to Gainesville, if you look north, you'll see a mountain that's got 3 towers on it. Dr. Don Studios are just below those towers on the side of Waka Mountain. Waka Mountain is the first set of mountains you can see when you come up 985 coming into Gainesville. Georgia side of Eufaula, yeah, you might be in that half inch to 3/4 inch, maybe an inch there just east of Eufaula. And I apologize, folks, for having to mute the mic, but I got really sick during Christmas, and I'm still trying to recover from it. And I feel fine, but I have a nagging cough that just won't go away. Hoping for snow in Valley. Well, there's certainly room for hope there. I don't blame you for hoping. Don't be disappointed, but I don't blame you for hoping. Hey, yeah, Lynette. Your eyes is probably going to be way yonder closed, Miss Elaine, before anything happens, because it's going to be well after midnight before anything changes to snow anywhere. Bonnie, you say you're on the base of Cheehaw. I'm assuming you're close to the lower end. If you were halfway up the mountain or on top of the mountain, you'd probably get hammered. Glenn, Georgia. Yeah, flurries to a dusting, Miss Kay. Ashley, I don't know that you're going to see snow in Roanoke at all. You're going to see some rain, and then if enough cold air mixes in with that rain, then you may see a mixture of rain and snow, or a brief change over to snow, or just a flurry. I wouldn't expect that until sometime well after midnight tonight. Kathy, I do live close to Blue Ridge. I'm southeast of Blue Ridge by about 30 minutes. I'm down in southern White County. Between Dahlonega and Helen is where I live. Thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate that, Angela. Tomorrow morning in Opelika, I would check on the road conditions before I did that. If we get any measurable snow in Opelika, and that's a big, huge if, it would be happening around that time. So I would definitely find somebody down there I can call and check with before I hit the road tomorrow morning at 4:30. Yeah, Remy, I was just thinking about that this morning. It was 1 week ago today. I was doing live coverage for severe weather, and we had tornadoes. Had a confirmed tornado up in Cleburne County, had a confirmed tornado over in Carroll County, and we had some pretty nasty flooding up here where I live and had to go deal with all of that. Now, 1 week later, here we are talking about the possibility of some snow across south central Georgia mainly. It's just crazy. And I'll say this much, too. It was on this exact date in 2017, I know we've had some snow since then, but it was on this exact date in 2017 we had a eerily similar setup across Alabama and Georgia, where we saw measurable snow all the way down to the Florida-Georgia state line. We didn't see that much in Alabama, but we did get a pretty good snow from about Columbus all the way down to the state line, and this is kind of what the forecast is for this thing. I don't think maybe quite as far south as it was back in 2017, but it was on this exact date. That was 8 years ago today. Salem, Alabama, yeah, I think you have a decent shot there, maybe an inch at the Salem Auction House. Troup County, probably just a flurry to a dusting. Don't look for any impacts in Troup. Thank you, Rhonda. I feel fine. It's just this nagging cough. But when I get sick, which doesn't happen about once every 5 years, this is what happens. It takes me like 4 months to get completely over it, so I'm not at all surprised. I think the bullseye for accumulation will be Macon to somewhere between Macon, Valdosta, Statesboro, Macon, Albany, Valdosta, Statesboro. Somewhere in there is where the bullseye will be for the heaviest snowfall. I don't think that entire area gets the heaviest snowfall, but I think there may be a stripe right through there. We could see 2 to 3 inches, and 4 inches isn't completely out of the question. The problem, you're going to get somewhere in that area is going to get very heavy snowfall rates. The big, fat, wet snowflakes, and they're going to fall at a high rate. The problem you're going to have in that area is the ground temperature. If it falls fast enough, then the ground, it may cover the ground enough to where you will get a decent accumulation. But if it's just a steady snow, the ground's going to be well above freezing. So it would take a while for that freeze process to take place so that the snow can stick. I think that's going to be the question. I think somewhere in between Macon and Valdosta is going to see a couple of hours of very heavy, wet snowflakes. The thing is, I don't know that we have the ground cold enough to get a 2, 3, or 4 inch accumulation. That part we're just going to have to kind of wait and see. Clay County, probably just flurries. Western Herd, probably just flurries. That's correct, Brooke. LaGrange, Troup County. I mean, you get right down there along the Troup-Harris County line, back over toward the I-85, I-185 interchange. You could be looking at up to a half inch there. But for most of Troup County, I think we're talking about flurries to maybe just a dusting. Angela, I did check the crystal ball. There we go. There's the Dr. Don crystal ball. Right there. Isn't that cool? Northern Chambers. So you're up there on the somewhere around Highway 109. Up there in the northeast corner. Probably just a dusting to, anywhere from a dusting to a half inch, but I would lean more toward a dusting in Northern Chambers County. Again, folks, anything for Blue Ridge. Yeah, Brenda, you could see a dusting up there in Blue Ridge. I mean, the model keeps trying to suggest that when the first batch of rain moves in, hang on a second, right there. I mean, it's not a lot. That's around 9 p.m. tonight, 10 p.m. tonight. The models are trying to suggest that we might get a little bit of flurry activity up there in the Blue Ridge area, back over into Union County and Towns County and Rabun, maybe even down into northern Lumpkin and northern White. But nothing of any great significance. Standing Rock, if you get any flurries at all, it'll probably be after midnight tonight. And that's a big if up there in Standing Rock. Same thing for Roanoke. We're looking probably at flurries anywhere across East Alabama and West Georgia, unless you're down there by the I-85 corridor. From the I-85 corridor south down to around Columbus, I think a half inch is plausible. From Macon to Dothan, south and east, 1 to 2 inches, with some localized areas getting up to 3 or 4 inches. Just flurries, Timmy, with the current forecast. Crazy Horse, unfortunately, yes. There's hundreds of models out there. Some of them are long range, some of them are medium range, some of them are short range. Those long range models go out like a month. Some of them go further than that. And there are multiple models out there that go long range that are already showing several opportunities for more snow events across the southeast. And unfortunately, some of the social media knuckleheads are already posting some of that stuff, and we haven't even gotten through this one yet. Don't look. So if you've been following this event, you've seen how difficult it has been, even though I'll say this much for the NAM. The NAM was painting this picture a week ago. Nothing, basically, is what the NAM has been saying the whole time. And the GFS was the one that was spitting out this major snowstorm. And then those two kind of came back together and met in the middle yesterday, like 48 hours before this event, until we saw a model that we felt like was pretty good. So looking at this stuff you see out there on Facebook and social media that's, a week and a half, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks out is nonsense. It's fun to look at the possibilities, but don't take it as a forecast, because we're having, there's going to be surprises with this one when it happens in real time. Forecasting snow in the southeastern United States is extremely difficult at best. Brandy, that's the story of my life, too. I live up in the northeast Georgia mountains. It is supposed to snow up here. It either snows on the north side of the mountain or 100 miles south of me. We hadn't had a decent snow up here in White County, Georgia. And, we had a dusting last year, but it wasn't, it's been at least 4 years, I think, since we have had a good, decent snow up here. For the first 3 or 4 years we lived up here, it happened every year. Hey, Nathaniel, good to see you. Just southeast of Statesboro. Let me see if I can get you some timing here. All right, so it should be moving into the Statesboro area around 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then if you're just southeast of Statesboro, you should be in the snow by 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then by noon, 1 o'clock, it's all gone. We switch back over to rain. That's what I was saying a few minutes ago. Look at that good band of snow coming right out I-16 from Macon. Them folks in Savannah are loving it. Oh, my goodness, we're about to get to see Savannah in the snow. And then, no, it's gone. Savannah misses it. It turns to rain before it gets to Savannah, if this model is correct. Yeah, I hope that part of this model is not correct. I would really love for Savannah to get about 2 or 3 inches of snow. That would be awesome to see. Oh, absolutely, Crazy Horse. I do not want snow. I do not want ice. I'll take snow over ice anytime. Dadeville, Alabama in the highest. Flurries at best for Dadeville. Yeah, Meriwether, you're right there on the edge. You're right on the edge. And I would think a dusting to a half inch would be plausible in the southern area of Meriwether. They have to cut it off somewhere. And you folks over here in Troup County are saying, what the heck? How's Meriwether in it and we're not? Well, if you draw a straight line from Columbus to Athens, you can see that it just barely catches that southeastern corner of Meriwether County. That's why the whole county's in it. They can't issue an advisory for just part of the county. Well, I guess they could, but it would be awfully confusing. So if you draw a line from Columbus, that's why you get Harris County. That's why you get the southeastern corner of Meriwether, and basically all the way up to just south of Athens-Clarke. Oh, Angela, this won't be anywhere even remotely clear. It ain't even going to be in the same book, much less the same chapter as 93. 93 was a super bomb cyclone. That was a totally different story. That was two phasing systems, and The actual low pressure system with the 93 storm, the pressure was lower than most hurricanes we see in the Gulf. This one ain't even remotely close. This is going to be a novelty snow. This is not going to cause a major problem for anybody, even in south central Georgia, because temperatures are going to get above freezing by about 1 or 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, unless we get some good snowpack, and then we may stay cold the rest of the afternoon. Then we could have some refreezing tomorrow night on 75 and 16, and we could have some black ice problems on Monday morning. But by Monday afternoon, we get up into the 50s, so anything that falls that can make it through tomorrow afternoon will be completely gone by Monday afternoon. This will be a novelty for those who typically don't get snow. You folks from the north are laughing at this because this is probably going to be such a non-event. If this were Chicago, Illinois, it probably wouldn't even be in the weather forecast. I lived in Chicago for 2 years, and this is not something anybody up there would even take time to talk about on the weather. But, you know, folks in Chicago are used to it. We're not down here in the South. Well, there's always a possibility, Michelle. There's a possibility that the low pressure gets deeper. It becomes a bigger storm than expected. And there's always that possibility it could track a little bit further north. And you're right there on the northern edge of where we expect the snow cutoff to be. So if this low pressure were to track 30, 40 miles further north, then that could change everything for LaGrange. That could change everything for all of East Alabama. I mean, it could change things drastically for Clay and Randolph, all the way up to the I-20 corridor if this thing were to track a little bit further to the north. We don't believe it's going to do that, and we're going to be watching it throughout the night to watch radar trends and see if it does. Then we're going to try to stay ahead of it and let you know what's going on. Randolph County, Chambers County, dusting, flurries to a dusting is what I would say for the Randolph, right there at the Randolph-Chambers County line. Flurries to a dusting, if anything at all. All right, we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to go back through it and give you a recap one more time, and then we're going to wrap this up. I'll be watching the models. I'll be watching radar and keeping up with the latest information from the Weather Service offices out of Birmingham, Atlanta, and Tallahassee. The National Weather Service at Tallahassee is forecasting. They're having to watch the models and forecast snow across South Georgia and Northwest Florida. I mean, Tallahassee is a weather service that deals with hurricanes and thunderstorms. They don't do winter weather, but here we are. So let's just go ahead and run through some of this again. Again, what you're looking at on the screen is the winter storm warnings and advisories. The counties in the pink are those counties in south central Georgia that are currently under a winter storm warning. The criteria for winter storm warning is when snow accumulation of 2 inches or greater is expected in the next 24 hours. So those counties that you see in pink could certainly pick up 2 inches of snow. Localized areas within this pink group could see 3 to 4 inches of snow. I think probably closer to 2, and that's going to depend on whether or not we can get the snow rate fast enough for it to accumulate, because the ground is going to be relatively warm. Then the counties you see in that purple, blue, whatever color that is, those are your counties that are in the winter advisory. And to be in a winter advisory, then you have to have a half to quarter inch of snow up to about 2 inches of snow. Could cause some temporary travel issues in those locations, but it should not be a major impact storm for most of you across central and southern Georgia. And you'll notice that does come into Alabama. There's a couple of counties down there that are under this advisory as well, and that would be Henry and Houston. Over here in Alabama, we pronounce it Houston. Georgia pronounces it Houston. So we do have 2 counties in Alabama that are covered under that advisory. Anywhere inside this area, you could expect slippery roadways Sunday morning. If you have travel plans down into those areas, you might want to think about changing those plans because of the possibility of some travel issues down there for several hours tomorrow. Then I want to show you it basically says the same thing. Snow or rain-snow mix is expected south of the I-85 corridor early Sunday morning, continuing through early Sunday afternoon. Snow accumulation will generally range from a trace to 1 inch, with isolated areas receiving as much as 2 to 3 inches. That would be down there around Macon, Georgia, maybe just to the south of Macon. Hazardous driving conditions are likely, especially across the yellow shaded areas you see here on the map. Rain is expected to transition to snow or a rain-snow mix across central Georgia between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. The main time window for impactful snow is between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. Sunday down in central and south Georgia. And the last one we'll look at here, this is from the National Weather Service out of Birmingham. And this kind of shows the percentage chance of receiving a 1/4 inch of snow or more. And you can see the further south and east you go, the higher the chances are to receive at least a 1/4 inch of snow or more. I'm going to blow this way up, and then so you folks at home can see this. And I want to point out a couple of things. There is Valley. There is LaGrange. Valley and LaGrange is in that 20 to 30% chance of receiving a 1/4 inch snow or more. That's why I'm saying to you folks in LaGrange and Valley that probably a dusting to a 1/2 inch. Somewhere in there would be plausible in those 2 locations. Even up here in southern Coweta County, Noonan, you've got about a 20 to 30% chance. You're back on that 20% side of things. Then when we get over into Alabama, we're talking about Auburn, Opelika area, we're in that 20 to 30% chance. Get up into Chambers County, you're still the southeastern corner of Chambers is in that 20 to 30% chance. If you get up into Randolph County, you're in that 10 to 20% area. Same for Clay. The same for southeastern Clay. When you get over there around Lineville and Ashland, you're in that 5 to 10% chance. So the black area is about a 5 to 10% chance of seeing a 1/4 inch of snow or more. The purple area is 10 to 20, which gets most of East Alabama and into the western part of West Georgia. And then the blue is a 20 to 30% chance, and that gets the rest of our West Georgia counties. And then the first red shade is a 30 to 40% chance. That's Columbus. That is up into Meriwether County, the southeastern corner right there, and continues on over into Pine Mountain. And then when you get down to about Eufaula, from Eufaula to Madison, Georgia, you're in that 40 to 50% chance range. And then by the time you get to Macon, you got about a 60 to 70% chance of seeing snow tonight. But you can see kind of right there, that the chances of seeing anything significant across East Alabama is only about a 5 to about a 20% chance, depending on where you are. And the further north and west you are, the lower that chance is going to be. Places like Birmingham, Clanton, Tuscaloosa, Demopolis, basically zero chance there. Anniston, basically a zero chance. Could you see a flurry up there? Yes, you could, but we're talking measurable snow of a quarter inch or higher. These are the probabilities of that happening, and you can see those chances are very low for most of the area across East Alabama and West Georgia. Bear with me just a second while I put this graphic back in place. And there's one more stop I want to make before we wrap this live up. And I want to go back to the high-resolution radar. This is really the best one. Can it be wrong? Absolutely it can be wrong. But this is, I think, our best option when we get this close to an event. And we'll kind of step through this right quick for you. So what you're looking at right now is at about let's bring it current. All right, so this, and I'll tell you, this doesn't match very well with the radar, and this is what the model is suggesting would be happening right now across East Alabama and West Georgia. And let me switch to the radar. And we already, actually, it matches up pretty good because if you'll notice, all this stuff along the I-85 corridor north, that's not making it to the ground. And our model is not showing any of that. But if you look down here around Enterprise and Dothan, that stuff is making it to the ground. That is rain that's making it to the ground. So if I go back, I mean, it's displaced just a little bit, but that's a pretty good match. And this model ran several hours ago, so it's picking it up pretty good. So let's go ahead and get out here to where it starts to precipitate. And this is at about 8 p.m. tonight. We're beginning to see a little blue up there along the Georgia-North Carolina state line, but it's all green across East Alabama. That is pure rain, probably very light rain at that point. Then we continue to see the blue up there across the northeast Georgia mountains. And then maybe right there around 11 o'clock tonight, this is 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central, there could be some rain with some ice pellets mixed in with it there in Lee County. That's just to the west of Auburn at 10 o'clock tonight. Then there's our first glimpse at frozen precipitation. And this is at midnight Eastern, 11 o'clock Central. We see a little spot there just west of Athens, Georgia, and then a very narrow band of snow stretching from just south of Atlanta all the way to about Opelika. You'll notice, though, that's not very wide. I mean, that's just a few miles wide. And we'll move it forward. In time, you can see that the better snow is in Georgia at this point. And then this particular radar seems to think we may switch back over to rain around 2 a.m. We're still rain at 3. We're still rain at 4. And then at 5 a.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Central, we'll begin to see snow again from about Macon to just south of Columbus. Very, very narrow band of snow. And then it grows from there. Now we're snowing from Macon all the way to Dothan to just west of Albany. And then look at that band. It continues to widen. Good snow now from Macon to Dothan. Good snow from Macon to Dothan back over to Albany. And this is at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern. And then look at that. We got snow from Macon to Statesboro out there on I-16. And from Macon to almost Valdosta on I-75. We've got moderate snow still falling in Albany. The snow has ended back over here near Dothan. But this is at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. Then we go out to 10 a.m. Eastern, still got some good snow from just east of Macon all the way out to Statesboro and up to Augusta, all the way down to Valdosta. And then at 11 o'clock Eastern tomorrow morning, heavy snow falling in Statesboro from Valdosta to Statesboro. And then at 12 noon Eastern, the entire snow area begins to shrink as temperatures get above 32 degrees and we start to transition back to rain. And by the time we get to 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, it's all gone. And if this model is correct, Savannah is left with a cold rain, maybe a flake mixed in from time to time, but nothing meaningful for Savannah. If this is correct, could it be wrong? Could that snow make it all the way into Savannah? Absolutely, that could happen. If the snow machine cranks a couple of hours sooner than expected and moves a little faster than expected and moves into Savannah a couple of hours sooner than expected, you could be looking at all snow for Savannah. Those are the fine details we simply cannot forecast. And anybody that tries to tell you that they can, they're pulling your leg. We cannot tell you with great certainty the timing or the depth of snow in the southeastern United States. We can give you a good idea. We can give you those limits to work with. We can say anywhere from a dusting to a half inch. We can say it'll start anytime between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., and it'll happen somewhere between I-20 and I-85. Those things we can do. But telling you that it's going to snow 6 inches in your backyard, but your neighbor's only going to get a half inch, and it's going to start at 1 o'clock tomorrow morning in ABCville, Alabama, ain't happening, my friend. And even James Spann, as good as he is, he can't do that. Nobody can do that. You can't do that in the north, and you certainly can't do it in the south. Well, the question is, what time am I going to be coming live tonight? It just kind of depends. I'm going to kind of watch how all this develops, and I'm going to be looking at the latest information from the Weather Service. If I see something of any great significance that starts to change with the forecast, then I'll come right back on and we'll give you that information. And of course, I have no earthly idea what time that would be. I'll also be watching the radar trend, and as soon as we start to see snow developing anywhere in Alabama or Georgia, then I will be back and we will go live. If I had to guess, I would say that it'll probably be in the wee hours of tomorrow morning, maybe around 3 or 4 a.m. before I come back on, unless something of significance changes between now and then. If it does, then I'll come back and we'll go live. So keep those, make sure you follow us on Facebook. Very, very important. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. We would love to have you subscribe to us on Facebook. It's 99 cents. That's less than a cup of coffee, my friend. And that helps us continue to stream here on Dr. Don's Weather. And it increases your odds of getting that notification when we go live. But if you want to be absolute positive that you get that notification, go over to YouTube. You don't have to watch us on YouTube, but subscribe to us and click that little notification bell on YouTube, because their notifications are different from the way Facebook does it. YouTube uses a push notification. Facebook, it's an algorithm thing. If you don't interact with us just about on a daily basis, then we get deprioritized on your news feed of what you see. So make sure you comment if it's nothing more than just saying, "Hey, Doc," or "Thank you," or "We're sick of watching you." Whatever it is you want to do, comment on our videos so that we stay on the top of your news feed. Subscribe to us on Facebook. Subscribe to us over on YouTube. If you do those three things, then the odds of you knowing when we go live to cover severe weather will increase tremendously, and you'll know what's going on. So with that, we are going to shut this down. Been going now for about an hour. So we're going to shut. Hey, Matt. Merritt, sir, good to see you. We're going to shut this down for now. Again, I'll be watching this throughout the evening. If I see something I think you need to know, we'll be right back with you. And I would anticipate that I'll see you back in here around 3 or 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we'll just watch this thing develop live and in living color at that time. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We'll see you later on here on Dr. Don's Weather.